There it is. And
Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at psychicinsights.life.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, everyone. Welcome. Oh, little bit of tech issues, but we're managing somehow. Good grief. It's sometimes the things that the technology does is a little. So I'm just gonna say, so how's everybody doing today? How's this Mercury retrograde treating you? How you doing? Um, we're doing pretty good so far, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Right, Sarah? Yeah,
So
okay.
far, strumming
So
along.
far, so good. So far, so good, right? Okay. Well, Mercury retrograde and Venus is retrograde right now. So if you're starting to have some issues with relationships or you're starting to have some like, man, I don't know if I want this, you know what I mean? So, like I'm just saying, like if there's something like if you're having awakenings or something, that's what's going on right now. So, and oh, I don't know why I can't post directly to Divine Androgen, but I couldn't, so I had to share it manually. But welcome everyone. I'm glad you're all here. Wow, look at all these people. Hi Samantha.
Hi,
Hi
Samantha.
Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Leah. Hi Laura. Hi Lisa and Michelle. Lexi. I hear you, Donna. And Angie Wolf and Ramphus King. Um, Hi, Laura. Hi, Carrie. Again. Carrie was with us a little earlier today.
Carrie.
Sorry that you're a little crabby and anxious, Leah. Yeah, that probably has something to do with the Mercury Venus retrograde. You probably have some placements in Aries. Mm-hmm.
I hear you, Leah. I've been going through it too.
Hi, Chelsea. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Cold in Ohio, huh? Why do I feel like I can communicate better? You're probably born with Mercury in retrograde, Samantha. You were probably born, if you look at your astrology chart, you find the one that looks like Mercury. You can look in the little, they usually have a little key, tells you which one is Mercury, and next to it will be a little R or RX, or it could be in red. That means that it's retrograde, and that's probably why you communicate better. Mm-hmm. Hi, Laura. Donna.
Oh, Donna.
Oh, someone said that somebody had an angry meltdown, but a friend had an angry meltdown over the chaos. Yeah, that's Mercury retrograde. So hi, Jeff. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, just time to, you just got to ban some people. Good to have you with us. And Terry. Hey, Kim from Spain.
Hey.
Yeah, Samantha. Yep, I'm telling you, it's probably true. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. So many people. We're a very busy night.
Ooh, exciting.
Nandita in the group, Nee in the group, Erica in the mediums group. Hi, Joe, Jennifer, and Heather. Welcome, everybody. It is a busy night. Wow, we are hitting it right now. Hi, Monica. Hi, Jennifer and Heather. Welcome, everyone. So tonight we're going to do spirit-led readings. So we'll keep trying to repeat it. Hi, Barbara. We'll keep trying to repeat it. Essentially, that means that Sarah will bring messages from the other side, and your job is to listen and put it in the comments if something matches for you. Try to be specific, like these things match and this doesn't. Even if one or two things doesn't match, still speak up. And be sure to be sure to be clear about what exactly matches. It makes it easier. Oh, Jennifer, well, welcome. It's your first time. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, there's a couple new people. All right. Hi, Melissa Taylor. So we're doing spirit-led readings. So that means that spirit picks who gets the reading, because you don't expect us to choose that, do you? Good grief. Sometimes I do pick for some people, but it's actually a challenging thing to do. So instead of trying to pick, Sarah just does spirit-led, and we trust that spirit will choose the right people. All right. Kim said, I've asked for signs of sunflowers, and Jennifer has made it clear I should be here. Okay. All right. Hi, Amber. All right. So, Sarah, you should be able to, as I leave, you should be able to see the comments up here.
Yep.
And I think we'll be doing pretty good. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. It's all yours, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to have everyone here tonight. I just want to thank everyone for their love and kindness and your support. I always start off, before I do get into my readings, is kind of explain how I got into my readings. So when I was a child, I could hear spirit, but it sounded more like whispered conversations. But being a child, I wasn't right away trying to give readings. So as I grew older, I was aware of certain things, but I wasn't listening. And then 3 years ago, in November of 2021, literally the end tail of COVID, my family caught the COVID virus. And unfortunately, my oldest and only son didn't recover from it. He passed away very suddenly from COVID complications. He was 20 years old at the time, a month shy of his 21st birthday. It took all of us, it just took our breath away, because the day before he was sitting up in bed playing on his Wii U. And I remember going and thinking, oh, finally, he's getting better. Okay. And the next day I slept in and his sister woke me up. And my daughter said, Mom, you got to come. And I'll never forget the look on his face as he struggled to breathe. And, you know, I took him to the hospital and he passed away that night. And I was there watching all the nurses and his doctor perform CPR on him. And I was devastated, like anyone would be. And I had that sinking feeling of, I'm never going to hear from him, never going to know what he's doing. And then I thought, no, that's unacceptable. So instead, I learned how to communicate. I found mediumship, communicating with the dead, grief, and loss. And that's where I met Hollis. And I did the discovery meeting with them. And I was such a mess. And I remember near the end of my meeting with Hollis, I got brave and I said, hey, I'm trying to learn how to communicate. And, you know, Hollis wasn't the first medium that I brought this up to, except for the first one told me you either had to be born with it or not. And here's the thing, we're all born with the ability. It's just you have to trust in yourself. And that's what Hollis taught me, is to trust in what I'm receiving and to believe in myself. And I couldn't be more grateful. Hollis has been such a great support for me. And throughout my journey, meeting other mediums, another great support, and I always like to mention her, is Stacy Siegel Brickley. And between Hollis and Stacy and then numerous other, and your guys' support, I wouldn't be here today, sitting here, bringing your loved ones through. And my thing that I always say, it's never goodbye. You know, let me help you say hello again. And my son plays a huge role, as he did in life. I had him when I was 15. So we literally grew up together. But now my son, he helps bring your loved ones to our readings. And my son loves to wear fedora hats. So every time, especially with these lives, I'll see him and he has his fedora on, he has his suit. And it's so funny because my son never got to go, he didn't go clubbing. He just wasn't into stuff like that. But it reminds me of like when you see on TV, because he shows me the velvet rope and he's standing there, his arms crossed. And it was, you know, he guides your loved ones through. And that boy has amazed me from day one. He was born at 30 weeks because I had preeclampsia, and he fought. And even the night that I drove him to the hospital, I think he knew that he wasn't coming home. And I sang to him in the car ride, and I remember looking at him and he was looking out the window, taking everything in. And he just had this look on his face like, I couldn't place my finger on it, but he's the bravest person I have ever met. And I'm so proud to be his mom. And anyways, I always like to show a picture of him so you guys know, you see my face. My son helps bring your loved ones through. I just help give them a voice. But I always show his picture so you know who's helping your loved ones on the other side. Sorry, this is my son. His name's Jonah. He was about 17 in this picture, and we were walking, and that butterfly just landed on his shoulder and literally stayed with us until we got home. Anyways, I also like to say, don't be afraid to ask your loved ones to come through. And don't be disappointed if they don't. It does not mean that they're not with you. Just sometimes they like to have more privacy with their messages. You know, before I started giving readings, I was always jumping on lives. And a few times my son came through, and it was actually Stacy he came through, and then she says, "Can I message you after?" And I said, "Of course." And my son goes, "Mom, I see you going on these lives," but he was a private person in life. So he was just like, I don't like coming that way. He said dog and pony show. He didn't want to be like that performing. And that was him spot on. He always reminded me of Sheldon Cooper off of Big Bang Theory to a point. But anyways, don't lose hope if they don't come through. Feel free to ask them to come through. You know, it's not it's not bad to ask them. Always trust in yourself and the signs. One thing that Spirit has always made me very aware of, and I always like to say it in my lives before I get started, is I know we all want to see signs, but we need to trust in the signs that they do give them. The one thing that is a big indicator that, hey, yeah, it's me, like not me, but them, is when you see something or hear something or even smell something and they instantly pop in your head. Well, yeah, that's them. That's them sending you the sign. And a lot of times I hear too is just have patience, especially they're learning. Think of it as if you were to move to a totally different country and you have to learn the language and the customs and just how to do things. Or if you pick up a new hobby, it takes time for us to learn that. And that's how they are in spirit, is they're still learning and they're healing. And the big thing is, yes, they're safe. Yes, they hear you. Yes, they love you. And that love will never, never be broken. Jennifer, I want to say thank you. Jennifer Pruitt said, "How heartbreaking, Mama, sending you love." Thank you, Jennifer. So with that, I ask for permission from everyone to work with your energy and that of your loved ones. Oh, Samantha said, "My dad gave me a bunch of signs with our number today." Oh, that's so beautiful. I love when your dad comes through. So he's fun. Okay, so everyone, if you're ready, I think I'm ready, and let's get her done. I don't know where that came from, but it made me think of the man that voiced Mater off of Cars. Let's get her done. So maybe that's an indication of who's coming first. Jonah, can you please help me by bringing in spirit today of loved ones who have messages for their loved one here tonight. So I do have a woman stepping forward. She's slender. I would put her maybe about 5'4" in height. She has blonde hair. I feel that she liked to kind of keep it in a bob hairstyle. And she was showing me the bob hairstyle. And then sometimes she says when she didn't feel like styling it, she would kind of grow it out a little bit longer so she could just kind of put it in a ponytail. Very pretty, nice cheekbones. Her nose is a little bit more pointed. I love her sense of humor because I was trying to get a look at her eyes, and she goes up close, and she's got brown eyes, and she goes, "I bet you thought they were going to be blue." Sorry, I'm just trying to work with my camera so you guys can actually see me. Oh, there we go. So the way she's dressed, she shows me in like casual wear. She shows me in capris. They're like a light gray, and then she has like almost like a mauve tank top. And right now she's showing me her hair in a ponytail, and then she's wearing a white headband that it kind of went around, so it thicker on top and then kind of like just so it sits nicely in the back. When she would wear makeup, it was very subtle. She liked to do more of like the natural tones. I do feel that she's like always on the go. She made me laugh because even though when I first heard the "let's get her done," she goes, "Well," she's like, that wasn't me. She says she does know who I was talking about, and she says that she mentions a nephew that was obsessed with the Cars movie. I do feel that she really enjoyed jogging because she's kind of like showing me her jogging on the spot, and then she shows me she wore one of those watches. I think they're smart watches. It looks a lot like one that I got for Christmas, but I don't know how to use them, so it sits in a drawer. And she's like showing me her looking at it, and then she's like checking her pulse. Would anybody be able to take her or recognize her? Is what I mean. She's laughing. She's like, "Take me." She's like, "Take me where?" I do feel that she was really into like fitness. She's also showing me her in her home. Her home was really well kept. I feel that like her kitchen was like her spotlight. So she was showing me she has like one of those ninja food processor, like the bigger one that can like do everything under the sun. Um, when I get like a hint of the smell with her, it's like almost like kind of like a floral, but more like herbs and like earthy. She was always ready to greet you with like a smile. Would anybody be able to recognize her? Okay, so Donna, you said could be my mom, and then Donna says not me. No, sorry. Okay. Paige says my son is obsessed with that movie, but I can't think of anyone you're describing. Okay. KT Sullivan says possibly my friend. So KT,
If you look at the top, it's featured right there.
Yeah, it wasn't showing up for me.
Yeah. I don't know why you're not seeing it.
Yeah, it was really weird. I was like, that's why I like backed out and I was like, I'm not seeing it. Okay, so KT, what can you take from her? I can do a quick recap. So she's slender. I would put her maybe between 5'3" and 5'4". Leah says I can only take the Cars movie and the Let's Get Her Done. Sue says, sounds like it could possibly be my friend of mine, but it's hard to tell at this point. Okay, so I'll just do a quick recap. Paige says, blonde hair. My auntie passed a while ago, didn't have blonde hair, but she loved her kitchen and cooking. Okay, so this lady who's stepping forward, she's slender. She would usually have her hair either in a bob or she would grow it out a little bit so she could throw it up in a ponytail. I feel she was really active. She shows me her wearing gray capris and almost like a mauve color tank top. Right now she's showing me her hair in a ponytail with a white headband. I do feel that she liked to go jogging because she showed me her looking like at her smartwatch and like checking her pulse as she was literally jogging in place. Sorry. She, with her makeup, because she made me like see her face. Her eyes are brown though. She does have a sense of humor because when I was trying to get a look at her face, she goes like this and she's like, I bet you thought they were going to be blue because, you know, blonde, blue-eyed. Her eyes are brown. She liked to wear more neutral, soft colors for makeup. Very, I do feel like homebody. She shows me mainly her kitchen, but everything's like really spotless and kept in order. When I got like a smell of kind of what her perfume, it was like slightly floral, but also like kind of has that earthy. It reminds me a lot more like something that you would find at a naturalist store than like say perfume you would buy. Okay, so Sue, everything you said fits her. She was very much into fitness, blonde, nice home. Okay. Sue says, yes, also very funny, very put together, even wearing sweats. She looked perfect. Would you understand her going, hi girl, and like was she always trying to get you to kind of be more active with her? Like she wasn't pushy with her lifestyle, but she was always trying to like get people to embrace like just being healthy and fit. She's just saying, she goes, wait. She's like, it wasn't for her. It wasn't about like how your body looked. It was just more for the fact like you to keep like the healthy and fit was like not about body image, but more about, you know, just living a good, clean life is how she says it. And she says, oh, she's so sweet because when you said even wearing sweats, she looked perfect. She says, oh, she's like, I was far from perfect. She goes, but I'll take the compliments. KT Sullivan, did she have kids? She doesn't mention kids. I know when she did mention about the Cars movie, she did mention a nephew. So Sue says, yes, laugh aloud. She loved people watching and going out, loved having fun and laughing. She wanted the best for everyone, even healthy. Okay, so Sue, I do feel that I'm more drawn to you. Would you understand that? So from her, again, she's like putting me back with her makeup. It's like she would do more of like lip gloss or lip chap, but when she did, she kind of like more of like the subtle, like frosted, like neutral colors. Her message for you is, she says, I'm doing fine. She's like, would you understand why she's telling you for you to get up? She says, get up off the couch. She goes, do a run. She says, it'll help clear your head. She's also showing me, it's like, I see you sitting on the couch, and then she kind of like sits, but she has this like where she's like sitting way back and like her legs are out, and she's like, she's like, this isn't too bad either. So she's also showing me there's a younger man with her. He's taller. He kind of has like the, not as like blonde hair, but it was more like a lighter brown, a little bit shaggy on the side. He's tall, very nice features, high cheekbones. I don't feel that it's like a relation to her, but I do feel like for you, I see him. He does have like tattoos. So on his, I see a few like on his neck. She kind of like grabs him by the arm and she goes, look who I found here. Would you be able to take him? I would put him maybe in his mid 20s to early 30s. And then Sue says, yes, get makeup. Her makeup looked natural. That's fine. Sue says, sorry, typos. And then Sue says, yes, she would tell me, get moving, girl. Well, she's saying that you've been your son. Yes, tattoos. He was a tattoo artist too, wasn't he? I recognize him now. Shy personality. He kind of like, so she's like a little, she reminds me just like a little firefly, or he kind of goes in and he's like, hi mom, still fine, hi. She is telling you that don't worry. She says, I'm on his behind, like kind of on his butt, like, and he kind of just has this like look, and he like literally kind of rolls his eyes like, on my butt. He's like, on my butt for what? She still keeps her personality, so she's still like very much on the go. She does say that, she goes, even though she misses certain things in the physical world, she says, especially your girl chats. She says, I can talk to you until I'm blue in the face. She goes, but it's just, you don't always hear her. I do feel that you sense her and your son, but it's like, she says, I miss being able to go up to my loved ones and I can hug them, but they can't feel me. She goes, everything else, she says, is beautiful and fine. She goes, I can go wherever I please. And I don't know why, but she was like showing me the gym, and then she shows me that she's like, I went in the men's locker room. She's like, she just like shakes her, she closes her eyes, shakes her head. She goes, I don't know what my, she goes, I don't know what my curiosity was, but she goes, I'm good. She does want you to know that she's rooting for you. She says that you know what, she says she knows what I mean by that. She goes, girl, follow your dreams. She goes, were you planning on taking a trip? Because as soon as she says follow your dream, she says take that trip, eat that cake. She shows me a big slice of the gooeyest chocolate cake. So I don't know if you like chocolate cake or she did. She says it's good to always be healthy and on top of things. She goes, but she says it's okay to give in to your indulgence at time as well. She says, I want her to know that we're best friends for life, this life, next life, all the lives. She says, I'll always be there. And she says, I will be here. She goes, I'll be here with bells on my sleeves. She's like, we're just going to have a great time. She goes, but you need to go live your life to the fullest. She goes, don't worry about us. She goes, I'll keep care of your boy. And your son just kind of looks and he's like, I'm not a boy. And she's like, oh, she like swats at him. She goes, hush. And it's so funny because your son's tall and she like comes up to his shoulders. And she's just like, she's like, no, she's like, I'm in charge. But the message from her is just, she sends you so much of her love. So Sue says, Sue says, haha, she was so funny. She loved laughing at people, not in a mean way. No, I honestly, I wouldn't. Oh, and she says, yes, we both love chocolate, but she's basically telling me it's time to start over, get moving and live. Exactly. And Sue says, yes, she was about his shoulder. Laugh out loud. No, that's just it. And, you know, I think that that's the thing that for us still on this side of the veil is we often get stuck. And we just need to trust, you know, for myself, my biggest hang up was I was so scared to do anything or to laugh or enjoy something because I didn't want my son to think that life was easy without him. And, you know, the thing that I really learned is you can laugh. You can go eat that chocolate cake. I know, I love chocolate too, in cake form. But our loved ones are right there enjoying it with us. So never be afraid to laugh. You're not dishonoring them or anything because, you know, chances are they're right there with you laughing. So I want to thank Sue's lovely friend. And I'm just curious because I don't often get names, but did her name start with like a K? Samantha says, oh, thank you, Samantha. And Samantha says, this is so awesome. She sounds great. She really is. She's fun. I like her. I just want to thank her for coming through and thank your son for briefly showing. It's kind of funny because I think he got a little bit embarrassed because his cheeks are all rosy now. So yes, Donna and my son, Chris. There you go. K name, Chris. He's giving me some slack. He's like, I guess I'm forgettable, hey? And I'm like, no, I'm just bad with names. Sue said, very true. They are enjoying the good times with us. That's exactly it. And your son just wants to say too, he loves all the memorial tattoos that you have gotten. A lot of them are his designs. And I do remember you showing them with the reading that we had in the past. And Did you add to it? Or he was showing me, it was funny because like I see you sitting there and I see an artist over kind of like around your arm, but it's like your son is standing like over too, like as if he's saying it's a surprise. So I'm not too sure if you recently got one or you're thinking of getting one, but he's giving you thumbs up and he's just like, go for it, mom. I'm there. So thank you, Donna, and thank you, Chris, for showing up. Thank you, Sue, for being here. I'll just see who else would like to come through tonight. Sorry. Oh, thank you, Sue. Sue just thanked me and my son, so thank you. So I do have an older gentleman stepping forward. As he's coming through, I would put him maybe in his like late 80s to 90s. He shows me him kind of like hunched over, and I see him with a walker, and it's the one with the wheels in front. So it's like you push and then step. Sue just says, thank you so much. And thank you, Jonah. Oh, thank you, Sue. For this gentleman, he's skinnier. I feel that he usually kept his face like clean shaved, but he's saying his whiskers would grow in. He has darker frame glasses. On top of his head, it's bald, but yet he still has like hair on the sides. I do feel that he started balding at an earlier age. I mean, when I say earlier age, I would say like maybe like in his 50s. He was saying that his wife would always give him heck because even though the hair here kept on receding, he always kept the hair here. It was like he refused to like shave it off. He goes, my wife used to say, and he mentions his kids about, oh, just shave it, be bald. And he was like, no. I do feel that he wore a hearing aid because he shows me him like tinkering and like he'd be like, huh? Like, what'd you say? As he's coming through, he's wearing a gray sweater and his t-shirt underneath is almost like an olive green color, and his pants are like a brown. And he was just saying, he goes, I know. He goes, I don't, he said, I couldn't match clothes. He goes, but they're comfy. He goes, I don't care. He goes, with my age, I'll wear what I want to wear. So I'm not too sure if he kind of like got this like told like that doesn't match. And he's like, I don't care. He shows me, so he goes in his one front pocket of his sweater and he shows me like those mints, like the round white ones. I feel that he always had them. And then in his other pocket, he shows me he has like tissue. And he was saying that he had to always remember not to put his candy with his tissue. I do feel that he, in his later years, he was living in a nursing home. The reason I feel this is I see it looks like a common area. So I see him kind of like walking down a hall and I see the different doors with different room numbers. And then he like comes and I see it looks like a couch and then like a bunch of like different seating areas, and I see a lot of other older people. I do feel that he was very well liked, because as he comes in, I see someone like look up and hey, and he's like, like wave like hi, hi. I do feel that before he lived in the nursing home, like he tried to stay in his own home as long as he could. I do feel that the idea of a nursing home at first bothered him because he was very independent. But once he got there, he was just saying, he shows me, he gets to a chair and he like sits down. He's like, he was like, I don't have to worry about, keep upkeep with his lawn. I do feel that when in his earlier years, though, he did like to be outside. He took great pride in keeping his house and the lawn looking good, but it just over time it got harder. So he's making me aware. He's like showing me his hands, and his knuckles were kind of like more swollen as if he had arthritis. And he was showing me, like, especially his left hand, sometimes it would kind of cramp and curl up on him. Would anybody be able to recognize this gentleman? So Paige says, I have 3 grandfathers who have passed. My great-grandfather had dementia after my nan went into a nursing home. Oh, I'm sorry, Paige. Paige says he hated them, didn't even want my nan to go into one. Okay. Paige says he was skipping and getting his hair permed at 80 still. Oh, that's awesome. There's not a lot of people, especially at that age, that are able to skip. So that's really cool. This gentleman did have to use a walker in his later age. Paige, would you be able to take any of the how I described him or what he was showing me? So I'll just do a quick recap. He's shorter. I feel that he more shrunk in age. So I would put him about like maybe 5'7", 5'8". I do feel that when he was younger, he was a lot more taller. He might even been a little bit taller than what I'm seeing, because he's kind of like a little bit hunched over. He did have to use a walker. So he, like, from the top was all bald, but around he still had his hair. It was gray. I would put him between later 80s to 90s. He shows me him wearing a gray knitted sweater and like an olive green shirt and brown pants. And he did mention about how, one, he didn't care if nothing matched. He was comfy. 2, I do feel that he was always told, like, oh, you should, like, because I feel that he started balding at a younger age, like in his 50s. And I do feel that some people would be like, oh, well, why don't you just shave it all off? But he was holding on to what hair he had. For the most part, he was always clean shaven, but there was times where he, like, it wouldn't be a beard, but more like whiskery would grow. It took him a while to get used to the idea of a nursing home, but once he was there, he made friends very easy. So this nursing home, because he's also showing me that for the longest time, like, he would do his own like self-grooming, like with the face and that, but I do feel that he had bad arthritis in his hands. So he was just showing me him sitting, and it looked like almost like a barber style chair, but I do feel it was in the nursing home, because I see she looks like a staff member. She had, maybe someone can recognize her. I'll just quickly describe her. She was a little bit on the heavier set side. She wore mainly like the maroon scrubs, and she had shoulder length curly brown hair. So Paige says, I feel it might be him. I think he needed assistance when he went to a nursing home, but he had great hair. His son, my pop, was half bald, but he was in a hospital after a horrible fall. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about. Would you be able to understand, Paige, that he also liked keeping, he was showing me those, like, I think they're called Scotch mint candies. They're round, that he would keep them in his one front pocket of his sweater, but in his other side, he would keep like tissue. And he was telling me how he had to always remember which side was which. And did he like use a walker? I do feel that in his younger like stages of life, like he took great pride in his home. I am getting from him that he tried to stay in his own home for as long as he could, but it was just getting too much for him. You know, he was the type of man that his lawn was always very well kept. His house was very well kept. He's showing me. So the house that he's showing me, it wasn't a really, like, it wasn't overly big house. It's white siding, and I see the front door, and it looks like it's not really a porch, but there's steps, and the railings, they were like that black metal. My goodness, that sounds so weird, but like that was what the railings were. And then he was showing me where his house at one point was, everything was really nice. I even see him, he had like the hose with the washer so he could like wash the side. But then as time went on and it was harder for him, he's showing me how his lawn started getting a little bit overgrown, and just his house wasn't as like bright, like on the outside, as how he liked it. He's saying that he did have, he says, I keep hearing sons, that he had sons that would come over and help, but they had like busy lives too. Paige, would you be able to resonate with what I was just saying, or if anyone else would be able to take this gentleman? He does have I do feel that he had a good sense of humor as well. Always had a friendly smile for anyone. But he said that he has been told that he has a way of being set in his ways, that it did sometimes take him a little bit to warm up to ideas. Again, he's showing me like the nursing home. Like at first he was like, not doing it. But then after he was there, it was more like, okay, I'll make the best. He was just the type that would make the best of any situation, or at least try. Oh, and sorry for his description. He did wear glasses. They were darker framed and like a little bit bigger. Kind of like made his eyes look like bigger. He kind of reminds me of this one cartoon I saw when my kids were watching, where these two older gentlemen were like sitting in a park playing chess. And he reminds me a lot of that one older man with the same hair and same style, and like just the glasses and how it made his eyes look bigger. But he just everything about him makes you feel like comfortable and safe. Would and Paige, does this sound like your grandfather? I know that you were able to take a lot of what I was saying, but I was just curious if this like. I'm just gonna see if he could give me a little bit more. Oh, and he did wear a hearing aid. So Paige says half of it does sound like him, but not all of it. He was very funny and loved candy. Laugh out loud. His grandsons used to do a lot for him, and would Okay, so I heard sons, but grandsons, same thing. It's like, especially when they were like younger teenage years, but as they got older and they just got busy with their own lives, it's not that they didn't want to do it. It was just it's like the feeling that I was getting was it's not that no one wanted to help. It's just a lot of times it would kind of get pushed back. He was always, would you understand him always, it wasn't that he would correct you, like, so he was showing me, so I see this kid, I want to say, and I do feel this is a memory. So I would say he looked to be about 14. He's tall, skinny. He's wearing a navy t-shirt and white shorts, like the board type shorts. He has shorter hair. It almost kind of looks like I want to say strawberry blonde, so not quite reddish, not quite blonde. And I see him pushing a lawnmower, and I see this gentleman sitting on his front steps, and it was kind of funny because I feel like with him, when he mowed his lawn, it was like he would almost like do like a pattern, like, either back and forth this way or lengthwise. And I see this young guy and he's just kind of like pushing it any old way. And it was like he's telling me that he was thankful and grateful for that. But at the same time, he was like, because for him, if you push, like, honestly, I get it because I like to mow my lawn the same way. Would you be able to recognize the younger kid? So Paige says he loved racing. He loved the fast side of life. His son had a farm a little bit away from him. The grandsons were right around the corner. Okay. Just gonna see. Would you be able to recognize the one teenage boy that I was seeing? And again, I do feel this was more of a memory because, like, he did, the older gentleman did look a little bit younger. I would have put him maybe around 70 at the time. And again, when I was like mentioning about the nursing home staff lady, I do feel that she helped him a lot. Like, she was very bubbly. She would often wear like either maroon kind of scrubs, and her hair was like shoulder length, and like brown kind of seemed a little bit on the curlier side. Her face was a little bit more rounder, and she's like had a great smile. He was just saying that she was very nice, and not just to him, but to all the staff, all the residents, I mean. So when you said he loved racing, would you understand, because he is showing me when he was younger, and I'm talking like in his 20s. Okay, so Paige said my cousin, who is the grandson, has strawberry blonde hair. Okay. And I feel that he's older now with his own family. But sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So Paige says, sounds like my cousin who helped him with everything. Okay, that's perfect. And, thank you for that validation. Paige said, I didn't see him in the nursing home. I lived in another town. He went in and passed not long after, but he was very bubbly, happy man. Like, just was able to make friends with everyone. Okay. So he was also showing me, because when I was reading about him liking to race in the faster sleigh, he was showing me like when he was younger. Would you have known, did he ever drive like stock car in those races? he was kind of showing me that, but then it also reminded me, because my dad used to like to do that when he was younger too. And he was like showing me, it looked like, those old like projector screens where you can take home videos. So he was showing me that. And then I saw him and he was like much younger. And like I said, he seemed taller than, full head of hair. And he's literally like has his elbow on like, it looks like I really wish I knew like the brand of the car, but it's like orange and it has like, it looked like a number painted on the side, and he's just like grinning ear to ear. So Paige said his son looks exactly like him. Aw. He was just saying, he goes, yeah, he goes, my genes, he goes, they're strong. In a lot of his family, he says a lot of the males in his family take after him. And then he's like laughing. He's like, but the girls, they look more like the wife. He says the wife. So I'm not too sure if he's meaning like his wife. And he goes, good for them. He's just saying, he goes, I want you to know that I'm fine. I'm safe. He goes, it's funny because like he picks up his walker and he kind of like tosses it aside. He goes, I don't need this. And he shows me him like straightening his hands. I do feel that he was just showing himself like that so you could recognize him a little bit more. Do you also kind of like not living your life by the fast lane, but you're a little bit more adventurous, kind of take after him, he says? Would you understand that, Paige? Okay, so Paige says, yep, I can't remember the exact name of them. He knew everyone out there, spent a lot of time out there. He was so upset when he had to get rid of it. Oh. And Paige says, yep. So I'm guessing you're saying yep to you're like him, like adventurous. And would you understand him saying, take no prisoners? Like just, he was saying he could see that adventurous side of you when you're small. Did you often like do like races with the other kids? He was showing me him like kind of sitting, and I see like a little hill and it looks like a field. I see a bunch of other kids and I hear on your mark, get set, and then like someone clapping their hands as if to like stimulate, that racing whatever sound gun. And I just see a little girl, her hair is in a ponytail, and she's like just zooms ahead, and I see him and he's got this big grin on his face and he's clapping. He says that he's always so proud of every one of his family members. And he goes, okay, he goes, there's some that, he says there's some where you have to like dig to get that pride. He goes, I love each and every of my family so very much. He goes, I know that you often, not just you, but other people in the family often like tell stories about him. And he says it makes him so proud. He says that I hear them. He says, I want her to know to always go for your dreams. Don't let anything hold you back. And he says, life is, he goes, sometimes it's really long for some. And then he looks at my son and he goes, sometimes it's short. He goes, and that's a pity. He goes, but you got to make your life have meaning, not just for the world. He goes, it has to have meaning for you. He says, go for your dreams, even if they seem impossible. Live life to the fullest, love hard, but also know when to stand your ground and hold boundaries. He says, don't you worry about this old man. He goes, I'm good. He says, I just want you all to know that I love you all so very much. I just want to thank him for coming tonight. I want to thank you, Paige, for being here and for validating him and what I was able to give you. So Paige says, I'm a little on the fast lane. Paige says, I love going to see them. He lived for his family. He did. He truly did. Paige says, I'm struggling at the moment, so that makes sense. And Paige says, thank you so much. Of course, you're very welcome. And he was just saying, he goes, I know life can seem very unfair, but he says, you just need to trust. He says, trust in, he puts his, like, he makes a fist and he puts it just on his stomach. He says, trust your gut. He says, it'll never steer you wrong. He says, sometimes we overthink things and we can be headstrong, or we let our heart do the talking. He goes, and sometimes he goes, those two get things mixed up. He goes, but he says, your gut. He says, your gut will never send you wrong. So trust in your gut. He says, and don't be afraid to go for what you really want. He goes, it might sound crazy for some. He goes, some might not like it, but if it sounds right to you, then do it. And he says, I love you. I love how he says it. Matter of fact, just, I love you. So thank you both. So let's see who else would like to come forward tonight. So I do have another lady stepping forward. She looks like she might have been maybe mid-50s, maybe 60s. I feel that she might have been a little bit older, but she looked really good for her age. Her hair is still, she's like showing me her hair like this. It's not a dark brown, but I put a medium brown. She shows me that she has a little bit of silver streaking. She calls them her wisdom hair. She just has this brightest smile that reached her eyes. She's about average height. I would put her maybe about, I don't know, 5'3". She says, I got a little stuffing. She's like, she goes, it's so awkward for me when, like, especially trying to describe like someone's body, because I'm like, oh, but she says it's okay. She goes, I got some stuffing in me. She goes, but it just means more of me to love. So she's not overweight and she's not underweight. She's just average. And she goes, you had to say average? I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not calling you average. I do feel for her, even though she has this quiet personality about her, it's like she'll surprise you. I do feel that a lot of times people would like take her for granted, or not. Let me rephrase that. Not taken for granted, but so she was showing me this scene. I see her, and then I see her walking with a younger girl. I would put this girl to be, she looks to be about maybe 17, pretty, petite, and I feel this girl was shy, but it's like I see them, it looks like a mall setting, and they're walking, and then I see like a group of guys that look to be like, and they're maybe like between like mid-20s, 30s, but I feel that like one of them might have like said something inappropriate to the girl, and she just like turned around and she's like, she got in their face like, don't you, like, how dare you, you know, she's just a child. So that's what I meant, like she had the look about her like she wouldn't be feisty, but she was if she needed to be. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind. I do get this really caring nature from her, almost to the fact that like I want to say that she might have been in nursing or had something to do with helping people in need. She was just showing me like it almost makes me think of like the Meals on Wheels, like where they would deliver to either like elderly people or people who couldn't get out much. So I do feel that she was very involved in things like that. I do also kind of feel that she was more of like a homebody. She is saying that she was a wife, and she goes, "Well, I'm still a wife, but I do feel her husband's still on our in the physical." Would anybody be able to take her? So just to describe how she's wearing, she shows me her wearing a white t-shirt and just like gray sweatpants, and she has just white running shoes on. She says nothing fancy. I do feel that she did have a love for pets, especially cats. And again, she's got a good sense of humor because she's like, "Oh, make me sound like the crazy cat lady." And I was like, I said cats, not in like she was surrounded by cats. Would anybody be able to recognize this lady? So just to do a quick little recap. So she had about medium brown hair, kind of shoulder length, and I would put her between, she looked to be like maybe between her mid 50s, maybe 60s. She does look a lot younger. She does show me that she was getting like some silver strands, or she calls them wisdom hair. About average height, like 5'3", 5'2" around there. How she says it, so she wasn't overweight, but she wasn't like thin either, but she refers to it as stuffing or more of her to love. Very caring personality. She was showing me it looked like she either helped with like stuff like Meals on Wheels or like charity. She wasn't afraid to stand up for other people, and by that is she showed me a memory, and it looked like her and someone young, a younger girl. So Shaylin asked if she has green eyes. Could you step forward so I can see your eyes better? Would they kind of look more like a hazel green? Oh, sorry. So from her, I do feel that her eyes kind of like were like a little bit lighter, like a hazel green. So by that is like there's hazel eyes that take more on like brown hues, but then there's some that show more green hues. Would you be able to take that? And would Shaylin, would you be able to understand the rest, like how I described her with her hair. It's about shoulder length, and it's about a medium brown, and she was getting gray in her hair, that she would refer to them as wisdom hairs. Sorry. Very kind-hearted. I do feel that she was very involved in her community as well. And she was just a natural at taking care of people. Would anybody be able to recognize her? So Shaylin Hazel. Okay, so you can recognize her eye. Would you be able to recognize like how she looks? So Shaylin said, yeah. And how about how she liked to work? Like I feel that she was more of a homebody. So Shaylin, she was a nurse, my mom. Okay, so were you the girl that I saw that in the memory she was showing? So Shaylin, yeah, she didn't like her last haircut. It was kind of like, I feel that like when she went in, would you understand like she kind of liked more of like framing around her face, but this they just kind of like cut it straight. Didn't really give her like body to it, is what I'm feeling. And Shaylin, when I mentioned about like, I felt it was more of a memory she was showing of a younger girl with her. I would put her between maybe 16, 17. I felt that it was like at a mall setting, and I saw like a group of men. I would put them, they were older than the girl. So I would put them like they looked between in a group like in their 20s to maybe early 30s, but I do feel that they might have said something inappropriate directed at the younger girl, and she like just turned around. She's like, no, you didn't. Like, she's a child. That's what I heard. She's a child, you know. So she wasn't afraid to stand up for not only herself, but for others. Would you be able to understand that? And her husband, so because I do feel that she does still have a spouse on this side. Okay, so Shayla, no mall setting. I'm sorry. And you know, that's totally fine. It does not mean that it is that this lady isn't your mom. I just kind of got this feeling like it was more of like a mall or a shopping center. I was just basically what I could see. It seemed like they're walking almost in like a hall or something, but it was just more like her emphasizing about like how some people looked at her and didn't expect her to, you know, have a voice, as in like she wasn't afraid to stand up. Is That's what I was getting from that scenario. So she was just showing me her husband, like he's was taller than her. um I feel that he often kept his hair short, but it's like since her passing, it almost like it's grown out a little bit, where it's like not long, but a little bit longer than what he normally would have it. Um, I get the feeling that he really took her passing hard, kind of like where he feels like he doesn't really know how to be or what to do. Would you be able to take that? So I'm just going to ask her if she has any messages. So the message that she was saying is, never be afraid to lend a helping hand. She says, especially even for those who their pride gets in their way, where you would say, hey, you could see them struggling, but you would be like, hey, can I help you? And they're like, oh, no, no, no. And she says, always be humble when you do help. So she was mentioning about that. And she's saying that you can still help people even anonymously, like especially for those people that don't like handouts, you can do things to help make them a little bit more easier. She's like, that's the thing. She said, nowadays it's like a lot of people, it's like we don't ever want to get involved or really help as much as we did. And she goes, and that's the thing, she said, that helps grow our society and us as human beings, is to never be afraid to lend a helping hand. But she also says to know the difference by those who actually really need help because they can't help themselves. And then she says there are people that that take advantage. She says I'm not saying not to help them, but help them in ways where they also help themselves. She says that's the beauty with life, is that you can always be in charge of your own destiny and change things. And she goes, it's never, she was mentioning about how how a lot of times now when people go to help other people, they always have their phone and they're recording, hey, look at me, I did good. And she was just saying, that's not really helping, because when you help someone, you do it from your heart because you want to make their life easier. And by filming just to get likes, she goes, you forget that the importance or the whole point of helping people. And she says, never forget that. I'm not saying that she's saying that you're like that at all. I think this is just a message for all of us, that be good, be kind, and do it because it's what your heart is telling you to do, not just because you want to get likes on social media. She is mentioning too about her kids, that was the one thing that she really tried to drive home in them since they were little, is to always show kindness to others. She's saying that life isn't just black and white, it's full of color and a lot of gray areas too. She's saying that she is very proud of her family. She says that that's the one thing she never really had to worry about with her family, is about where their heart lies. She says that she wants everyone to know that she's okay. She's still very much around everyone. She says, I still see and I still hear. I do feel from her that she was also the type where if you're having a bad day, she would always try to put a smile on your face. And she says that's the thing that we all need to do, is just be there for one another. Shaylin, I'm hoping that this still sounds like your mother, and if not, I hope that you can take from the message that this lovely lady is giving, and that we can all take from it. I do want to just thank her for coming in tonight. And I know that I will take her message to heart. And with every reading that I do take the message personally as well. Let's see if I have anyone else who would like to step forward tonight. Oh, so Barbara Pivic says, I just want to say thank you for sharing your story about Jonah. I've heard you tell it many times now. It's given me peace that death isn't goodbye, and I always struggle so much with the thought of saying goodbye. Well, thank you, Barbara. And that's just it. So my son was a gamer. He amazed me. He, from a very young age, he could play video games with the controller just using one hand and beat all the levels. He wasn't just a gamer, so he did many things. But ever since he was just a newborn baby, he's always made me proud, surprised me. And you know, that's the thing, is like when he passed, like I've had other families who are very dear to me when they pass, and it hurt, but not like this. And you know, I don't know, I was like going somewhere with this, and then my mind is like kind of all over, but you're right, it's never goodbye. And I think that for all of us to be able to take that and know that whether you have to go through a medium or learn how to connect yourself, just know that your loved ones are there. But the thing is you have to trust in what you're receiving from them, whether it be a sign or when you feel like my son all the time, like in life, he would always like tickle my like neck or something since he was like a little boy, and I'll like feel that, and I know it's him. So yes, no, it's never goodbye, and they are still walking with us. Oh, the whole point of what I was getting on about the gaming is, so my son when I first was able to connect with him, he used a gaming reference, and he goes, "Mom, I just leveled up." That was hard to hear, but it's true. Our loved ones they finished this game and they just leveled up and moved on to the next. I'm not saying that life is a game or the afterlife is, but it's good to know that, you know, they are still very much around, and we just have to, you know, beat these levels. And when I say beat these levels, I mean live our life, make them proud. And, you know, if you ever struggle, and I say this personally as well because I've struggled, don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, do what you need to do to grieve your loved one. Those days where you can't get out of bed, that's okay. Hold space. Those days where when you think of them and all you could do is like laugh because of their personality, laugh, don't feel guilty, because that's loving them. But I know that there's like dark times where we might do something unintentionally. In those moments, you know, please ask for help. Okay? And just always hold space for your feelings, acknowledge them. Don't be afraid. If you're having a really bad day, to reach out. And anyone here, if you're having a really bad day, find me on Facebook, reach out. I don't mind, okay? I'll just see if I have anyone else who would like to step forward. Actually, I do. He's a younger gentleman. He's laughing at me. He goes, "Gentleman, okay." I would put him, I want to say that he looks to be about 17, 18. He's tall. I would put him maybe 6 foot. He has slender build. He's showing me him wearing like a black hoodie, and he would normally like have the hood up. I feel that he really loved music. He's showing me the bigger, like the headphones, not the earbuds. He kind of had like a little bit of like a goatee. His hair, it's weird. So his goatee kind of looks almost like a lighter, I want to say like a cinnamon brown color, but his hair, I feel that he might have dyed it black, but it's kind of where how like my hair kind of is like hung in my like face. So it wasn't like overly in his face, but and he was showing me, I feel that like he would like to do like drawing on his arms at times. He's got baggier jeans, like not like crazy baggy, but they weren't like tight fitting either. He has really nice blue eyes, very nice jawline. I keep on hearing these lyrics to this one song, but I know this band, but I can't seem to put it. I'll just, so this song I keep hearing, I was sober, but I'm drunk again. There's a different outlook. I keep hearing that. It's really bugging me. So so the song that I'm hearing, if anyone's looking, I'm just YouTube. It's Green Day. So I do feel that it's Green Day. So I feel that that's the key, like more of those type of bands like Green Day, and then all of a sudden like I heard some 41, stuff like that. I do feel that he wasn't so much that he was a loner, but he didn't feel the need to always be surrounded by people. He has a really great smile. A lot of it would be like a shy, like side smile. I feel like he walked a lot. So when I say this, it's like he just liked being on his own. I do feel that he did know how to play the guitar because he was kind of showing me him sitting, and he would often sit kind of like a little bit cross-legged, and I see him and he's holding this guitar. It's I don't sorry, I'm trying to, so I'll just describe this guitar how I'm seeing it. It's not electric, but it was black, and then it looked like it has like some almost like wood burning design on the front. It did have like a strap. It looks like a leather strap, and I do feel that there was some kind of designs on it, but he was really, really into music. Again, he's just giving me a better look on his outfit. So I see him wearing like a black zip up hoodie. He would often like put it, especially when he was like walking, he would put it up over his head, and I see his headphones, and then he shows me him wearing a white t-shirt. Baggy jeans, not like, oh, sorry, Vicky said, do you do coaching to help people to grow as a medium? I don't. I will always give you like what I know, but Hollis does. Hollis is amazing. Maybe in time, who knows? I could totally love doing that. I will always be a big support and be like, you got this. But Hollis does coaching, and they are amazing and such a great support. So this young gentleman, so I do feel he kind of like more the bands like Green Day. So Barbara, Vicky, I believe Hollis helped Sarah develop her medium skills. Yes, Hollis did definitely help me and got me to trust in myself and what I was getting. So again, they are very awesome, hands down. The key though is to always trust in yourself. And I know that's easier said than done. So Ashley Lynn says, Ashley Lynn Atwood. It kind of sounds like my brother. So Ashley, would you be able to take like his age? He was taller. Okay, so Ashley says I missed the beginning of you describing him. Okay, I will definitely do a recap for you. So I would put him, he looked, I wanted to say literally between the ages of 17 to like 19. I do feel that he might have dyed his hair like either black or darker. It's kind of like how my bangs are in my face. I feel like it was like that, but it was a little bit shorter in back. He does have like kind of a goatee, but that's the thing that I found interesting is like his goatee almost looks kind of like a more of like a cinnamony brown color than like the hair color. He has very nice blue eyes. I would put him at least 6 feet tall, slender build, very nice jawline. He was like handsome. And he's making fun of me because he's like, you think I'm handsome? I'm like, nice shoulders. He was showing me him wearing like a zip up black hoodie. I see him wearing a white t-shirt underneath. He would often put the hoodie up, and he's showing me him wearing like headphones. I feel that music was very important to him. He was sharing with me a Green Day song. I was like looking on my YouTube to just like quickly. So I'll just quickly say the lyrics I was hearing. So it was the Green Day song that's like, I was sober, but I'm drunk again. Different outlook. And then he was showing, like, telling me like Psalm 41. Like, so I think that he liked kind of more music like that. I do feel that he did either play the guitar. The guitar he was showing me, it's not electric, but it was black and it looked like it had like the best way I can describe it is like wood burning designs in it, and it had a leather strap, and I feel the strap had designs to it. He was wearing kind of baggier. So Ashley Lynn Atwood, my brother was older though, and you know, a lot of times our loved ones, they will show themselves at an age where they felt most comfortable. Like my son was 20 when he passed, but sometimes he'll come in as a 7-year-old. So Ashley said, did he have tattoos? Do you know? You know, Ashley, that's funny that you asked. So at first I thought it was like drawings that he did on his arms, but I like kind of felt like starting from his hand, like around here, like I have a hand tattoo that goes down. Did he have like kind of like on his hands, and it would just, I don't feel like it was a full sleeve. I do feel that he was comfortable. It wasn't that he wasn't a loner, but he was comfortable being on his own. And did he like to like go on walks a lot? Like even when he was a teenager, because that's what the vibe I was getting from him is that he didn't need to be surrounded by people. And it's so funny because I get that so much, because like it's not that I'm a loner, but I don't need to be surrounded. So I really like felt that from him, and I like understood it. I'm like, okay, would you be able to resonate with what I was saying? And when he smiled, like he has this like really nice, and it's kind of almost like a kind of half smile, like almost like I smirk is what I would get. Like, especially if he found something funny, he'd be like, you know. And would you understand, like when he was younger, was he into like skateboarding and that? I just, from him, I don't know. I get like early 2000, like later 90 vibes. So Ashley Lynn says, not a a tattoo, but yes, some on his arms. It did look like he drew it on. He did it himself. Okay. Would you understand? Like it kind of came. So to me, it seemed like it started like from around here and then went down. And it wasn't, I wouldn't call it a sleeve, but it was like yeah, I just got that vibe like he drew it himself. That's like where I was at first. I thought it was like more he just like, like to doodle on himself. And now he's making fun of me because he's like kind of the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. He does have a good sense of humor, kind of like it's like a matter of fact humor, like duh, obvious, right? Would you be able to understand that, Ashley? And would you be able to take his love of music and kind of like the genre? Like, so I was kind of like getting like Green Day vibes, and like I kept on like hearing like Sum 41. So Ashley says, and he walked everywhere and played the guitar. Music was him. Okay. So Ashley also says, one went down a little further, but yeah, it was gaped out. Like, yeah, like not like a sleeve, because like when I think of a sleeve, I think like how it's like one, well, kind of like it reminds me of, oops, sorry, kind of like how mine are. Yeah, funny, I never thought I'd have sleeves, but I guess so. um, and did he call you sis? Like, not just all the time. Like, I do feel that he had like, I heard him say, "Hey, sis." Um, are you younger than him? I feel like, because so, especially when in his younger days, like I feel that he was like more misunderstood, and it had more to do like the way how he dressed. Like he was well enough liked, but he was kind of like the odd one out, because where most in their teens and that like to be around everyone, he was kind of like And Ashley says he was funny and firm at the same time. Yeah, that's what I got from him. Ashley said it was splotchy. He was his own artist, so he was like a sketch. Yeah, that's what I got from him. And like he was just kind of like, duh. When I said about him drawing, doodling on himself, he's like, same thing, just permanent. You often talk to him. And she says, yes, called me sis. He goes, well, yeah. And yes, you were younger. It's like the feeling I got from him, it's not that like he was the oddball out or anything. It's like he was, but he wasn't, is what I'm getting. Where a lot of, especially when he was like younger and even moving on into life, where others have that need to always have to have people around, he was more than happy to be on his own. So Ashley says he really struggled as a teenager and it went into his adult life. But you were his constant, hey? So he was just showing me, it looked like I saw him, how he was presenting himself to me. And then I see you kind of came up to his shoulders, and it was like you were able to get him to smile. You got him. You understood his jokes, even if they were kind of like cynical or ironic. Like it was like you two were two peas in a pod, but in a way almost polar opposites. Like he's saying that like where he was like more not dark, but like I don't know exactly how to explain it, but like he calls you like you were like the rainbow, the sunshine. So Ashley says he was loved by all of us so very much and he knew it, but he struggled, which made it hard for us to connect in the way we should with him and all the family. Yeah, that's what I got is like he knew that love. It was just, would you understand him saying it was like he was just uncomfortable in his own skin? Like, like socially awkward is what I'm getting from him. Is like he's very smart. Like he could tell you facts that would be like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know that. But it was like what he was interested, some people would be like, okay. And he found it hard to make that connection. But I do feel what he's letting me know is like with you and him, it's like he was able to breathe around you, is what he's saying. He wants you to know that he loves you endlessly. And he says, thank you for getting me. He says, I'll always be your big bro. You'll always be my sis. He wants to, he says, tell the rest of the fam. He goes, I love them. So Ashley Lynn says, we went through everything together. And I really got that feeling. It was like, he's saying that when he didn't really, like when he would hold back, you would be the one to be like, no, just come. It'll be fine. Like, he's saying, I don't think she understands just how much she did for me. So Ashley says, very intelligent, just to put it out there. Oh, sorry. He was very intentionalized. Okay. Very comfortable being alone. Yeah, I got that from him. And it was like, it wasn't that he was even sad about being alone. It was just like he was in his own little world. And I think a lot of times that's just where I was getting him feeling kind of misunderstood, because human beings are more social. I don't like saying animals, but species. We're social species. And then there's like some of us who are totally fine being on our own, but then other people around us, they right away assume that we're sad or, you know, there's something going on. And it's not that we are sad, and it's just like after a while you start thinking like, is there something wrong with me? And he was just saying that at times he would get that, but then he says, there was my sis. He says that you were just bright, bubbly, and he couldn't resist. Like, you would ask him something, and even though like at times he'd be like, no, but eventually he would just like, his face would break, he'd smile and give in. He wants you to know that he sees you and the amount you have accomplished since his passing. He goes, I'm very proud of her. He says, I know that you felt very alone at times, especially after his passing, because it was like the sense I'm getting from him, it's like you guys weren't twins, but almost had that same, like that twin connection. It was like he knew what you were thinking, you knew what he was thinking. And he goes, I hear her all the time. And he goes, I do try to let her know that I'm here. So he was showing me, it literally looked like, I don't know. I wanted to say like a rock or something, but I almost want to say a marble. But have you noticed sometimes like something will just like fall off like a table or the counter, and it's like nothing like huge, but it just enough to get your attention, and you'll be like, what the heck was that? That's the thing that I was getting from him, is like sometimes he'll like knock something down, or even, do you ever sometimes feel like there's someone like really, really standing like close, like breathing down your neck? He's been trying so hard to like give you, like, let you know. I do feel that for his signs, they're not just going to be something, he's saying generic. He's saying generic signs. So Ashley says, I miss him so much. He says, I know. He goes, I miss you too. He says, I miss you hearing me and talking to me. He goes, or at least you hearing me answering you. He says, but I'm never far from you. He's like, I'm your cheerleader. Again, like, I love his sense of humor, because he's like showing me pom-poms and he's like, I'm your cheerleader in the sky, you know. I just want you to know, Ashley, that that love that you guys have, that bond, is never broken. And just know that he is still very much with you, cheering you on. And he's very proud of the accomplishments that you have achieved and will achieve. And he says, don't you worry. He goes, I'll be there for every one of them, okay? He goes, well, he's like, I'm going to go over here now. He's like, that's enough mushiness for me for the night. I just want to thank him for coming through. And thank you, Ashley, for being here tonight. And I just want to thank everyone who was here tonight for your love and your support. And I want to thank my son, Jonah, for helping bring your loved ones through, and each and every one who came in spirit tonight. Thank you so very much. Again, if you didn't hear from your loved one tonight, it does not mean that they're not with you. Sometimes just like in life, they get shy. So don't feel free, if you ever wanted to book a private reading with me. On my site, it says Sarah Redcrow -2. And it was funny because when Hollis was making it, it would not work without the -2. And it makes sense because it's not just me doing it. My son is a part of this. So you get a combo, me and him. So thank you, everyone. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all the reviews that I get. So if you did get a reading tonight, and if you feel so kind to leave me a review, I would love it. It means so much to me. And yeah, that's all I can think of.
Well, Sarah, well done. Good job. What a beautiful bunch of readings. Sarah did a bunch of them for you guys. And everybody's saying thank you, including like Barbara and Carrie, and over in the group. You know, lots of people are saying thank you and they appreciate what you've done. And, you know, you guys, if you'd like to, you can always book with Sarah. That's what the link is above my head. Oh, well, it wasn't above my head. There it goes. There it is. Now it's above my head. That's what the link is for. You can book with Sarah directly for a private reading. You know, then you get to spend an entire hour connected to your loved one on the other side with lots of messages and evidence to help you walk away feeling like you were connected, And Psychic Insights offers guarantees for readings. So if you don't like your reading, we'll just give you your money back. So I just want you to know that. So there's plenty of people around that will totally vouch for Psychic Insights and for Sarah, or for the entire business as itself, Psychic Insights. And that's the beauty about Psychic Insights, is that we're a collection of mediums. So, you don't have to go to the same medium all the time. You can if you want to, but you can also move around from medium to medium and get different messages. I think that's a great way to get a variety of messages. And then you can trust. You don't have to worry about like someone scamming you or whatever. Okay. There was a question, Elisa, the reason is a lot of spirits, first of all, mediumship doesn't work that way. You can ask certain questions. Sometimes they'll answer it. You don't always hear things. Sometimes you see things, sense things, feel things, smell things, taste things, or suddenly know things. They don't always say their name, maybe because I've asked the question, why? Why don't they just say their name? Why can't I just get a name? And they said that sometimes they want people to gain faith. And some mediums, they do get names. And that works for some people. And sometimes a name doesn't really mean anything. So,
it's funny because when I first started out, I would get names. And as I progressed, I wasn't able to get the names. I sometimes, like, as you saw with Sue, I felt like a K name, but it turned out it wasn't her friend Donna, it was her son Chris. And then he gave me kind of like, dude, you knew I came through before. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm bad with names.
I want to answer Millie's question. She said, if I book a reading, is it just one loved one can I connect with? I lost 5 extremely close people within 2 years, and I'd like to see who would come through for me. No, Sarah, it doesn't matter to you, right? It's just the hour is your time, and that's that. Okay, Millie? So if you book an hour reading, I would strongly suggest you book an hour. I wouldn't book a half an hour. It might be difficult to do that. Yes, you can have all 5. Sometimes spirits will kind of come through like they're connected anyway. So that's kind of how it will happen. Like, you can request somebody, but sometimes the other people will come through anyway.
And that's totally true. I do always ask at the beginning of my readings if you were interested in seeing who's around that has a message for you, or would just like to say hi, or I'll say, is there someone specific? In that case, I only ask for their first name, nothing else. And then I ask my son to bring that specific person through. And even in that case, if you got your message from that specific person, then we can definitely open up to see if there's anyone else here. Like, again, Sue, I'm using you as a demonstration tonight. When your friend Donna came through, and then all of a sudden I picked up on the other, which turned out to be your son. So sometimes that'll happen. And like Paula said, they'll kind of string together. I like to do my readings just, relax, have fun. Don't be afraid. I know I've had some readings where I've had people like cover pictures in the background and that. And honestly, I'm focusing on like you and who comes through, not on what's going on behind you. Unless I've had people had their cats run by, and that kind of caught my attention. I was like, "Oh,
how much? I don't know how much information you could get from a picture, but what else?" So anyway, all right, my friends. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. And if you got a reading with Sarah, try to put a review in the group, or maybe comment on one of her reels or something like that on the Psychic Insights page, and or you can put a review on the Psychic Insights page and make a direct reference to Sarah if you'd like. And we appreciate that. We appreciate those reviews, and we appreciate you doing this. And I hope that you take the time for yourself and book something for yourself. It's a good time to give yourself self-love with Venus in retrograde. It's a good time to care for yourself. And I always say that if somebody's struggling with with grief or something, somebody's struggling with grief or something, that they need to get readings. It's actually good for them. So Elisa, I answered your question that you asked earlier. So if you'll have to rewind this if you just came back. So all right, everyone. Well, I look forward to seeing you this weekend with Mama Cole. In the meantime, make sure you catch the replays. I post them in the group and on the page, and I hope you see them. I hope you see them when we do that. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are you seeking guidance on your spiritual journey? Need help with a vexing problem? Missing a loved one and looking for answers? Look no further than Psychic Insights, a small trusted psychic service offering mediums, psychics, and spiritual coaching. This service is managed by Hollis Taylor, a gifted psychic medium, astrologer, and a compassionate coach. We are dedicated to helping you navigate your spiritual awakening. At Psychic Insights, we provide medium readings and psychic insight to help you plan for tomorrow and make choices for today. Find the support you need, compassionate grief coaching, and astrological insights to help you spiritually grow and transform. Our professional services include well-managed schedules, recorded sessions, and reliable psychic mediums ready to facilitate your transformational experience. Discover more at Psychic Insights.